What's up, everybody? Beanchy Ben here, host of the Cast&Blast podcast. Today, we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be revisiting a previously recorded podcast where my co-host Jimmy and I were talking about the impacts of social media, whether they're positive or negative, and how they're impacting the outdoor world, whether it's fishing, hunting, or outdoorsmen alike. You're going to see a little bit of the old set. This was recorded a couple years ago, so it's going to have a little bit of nostalgia for us to revisit this, but I hope you guys enjoy this. Social media. Is it good? Is it bad for the fishing and hunting community? We'll let you decide. Let's dive right in. I want to talk about something positive that social media has done.
How about the communication aspect? How it can link so many, so many of us together. And
Yeah.
we can share some of the wins and the fails and laugh about them together.
Yeah, and I think that's really brought the community closer. Like you said, it's a small portion of society in general, and a lot of that has to do with maybe not having awareness of certain conservation programs and all that stuff, and maybe knowing like, well, why are we hunting this particular animal?
That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah,
To promote the conservation aspect of it and how we have to. I mean, there's reasons for the conservation.
Right.
If you don't have a hunting program, if you don't have people hunting, I don't think people, general public, a lot of people don't understand the
brutal consequence behind not being part of the conservation
exactly.
program.
I mean, they think, oh, you just went and shot Bambi.
Right.
You're like, well, yes, you're correct. I did.
Yes.
But there's the reason behind it. Not only is it good, clean meat, but what happens when, certain species become overpopulated? What does nature do to bring that population density back down? It's not pretty for that animal.
Probably a lot more harsh than
It's a lot worse.
A swift and ethical shot.
Right.
Placed well in the vitals so that
Yep.
that animal doesn't suffer. There's a lot more to it than just going out and slinging lead.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to, and that's something that social media can help promote, and that that's a great positive.
And it
there's
has.
some folks out there that really promote that in a very, very clear and concise, positive way too, and so that's great to see.
And it's
that.
helping the community grow. It's helping get more registered hunters year after year. The numbers are growing just in Texas. I mean, I look across the different states and it's growing. And that says a lot. That goes with, younger generation of hunting, women, coming into
that's
this.
what's
It's really interesting. They're the fastest growing market, in hunting and fishing, is young women, or I'm sorry, younger children and women, and that's,
women have really grown. So it was always a male dominant
correct.
sport, we'll say, but if you look at a lot of the content creators and influencers now, a large, I don't know the exact percentage, but a large percent of them are women. So I think it encourages other women to say, you know what, I can get out there and do that. She's doing it, I can do it.
Right.
So I think that's really cool. How many times have you been scrolling through a social media platform and you see somebody that is not part of that less than 5% of hunters, but they're commenting on a picture, or they took a picture of somebody that's driving down the road with a nice big large buck that's hanging out of the tailgate of the truck when it could be under it, but there's just blood dripping down. But they want to show it off because they're proud of it as a hunter.
Yeah,
So
and maybe that community of hunters would be like, oh hell yeah,
like,
but those that are not, and they're not educated and they're not aware of maybe the conservation aspect of hunting, large mature bucks in a certain area and all that stuff, they're completely oblivious to that. So it's already in a bad light for them. So it's not a good look.
It's not a good look, but it's not illegal.
It's not illegal,
right? So,
but I think as the hunting community, we really can do a better job of maybe covering that up and traveling with that in a sense to where we have a little bit, we can give a better example to those that don't understand it that well, because I mean we already have a challenge to explain that, and it's kind of like now we have a little bit of a even playing field, and I use that as an example because I didn't want to go into anything else, but I was losing a reference point, but I think you got what I'm saying.
Some shared understanding.
Shared understanding gets you on a much more level playing field to where we may be able to sway some non-hunters to think that it's less how can I say, it's got this stigma that, oh, you're only hunting because of this or you're only hunting because of that. It's like, actually learn a little bit about why, there's seasons. Why are there seasons? Why is it regulated? Why is there, numbers and limits? There's a reason behind all that.
For it. Yeah, it's not just somebody writes it down. There's science, there's reasons.
Correct.
And that's what the laws are made about. So if it's legal and it's moral and it's ethical, we can do it.
And you should be able to do it, and you should be able to travel down the highway with your racks protruding out the back of your butt.
Sometimes it gives a bad look, though. That's all we're saying.
The point is, like, maybe we can do a better job of swaying some of those people to think otherwise if we weren't really dragging that,
That's probably not the best way to do it, is, letting that deer hang out. Right. So, yeah.
So, again, that's something that you see. It's kind of an example of, like, social media where we're posting pictures, we're posting a harvest post, or we're posting a video or something like that. We probably can do a better job of sharing things where it's educational, it's providing awareness, and it doesn't give us the bad light. How many times have you seen the videos of people sharing, like, oh, we slaughtered this many or this and that, and it's like they probably were doing a good thing for that farm owner.
Yeah. Words mean things. It's about how you say it, though.
There you go.
Yeah, words mean things. So just kind of, say it in the right way, maybe.
And you lose already a section, or you lose a portion of communication through text in the format of a message, or
lose that context.
You lose that context. And things already, that transfer of emotion through communication in person is not there in a text or a post. So people can already take it the wrong way, and it's different. You know what I mean? We have to kind of understand that now. And maybe that's easy for us to get into a misunderstanding on a thread, or, and it evokes so much emotion in the different people that are commenting on it. And we might maybe want to take that into a private message with someone and be like, what did you mean by this? And if they say, oh, well, this is what I was talking about. Oh, okay, cool. I took it the wrong way. Saves a lot of.
Here's the sad thing. I see more bickering and arguing within the community on different threads and pages, of what we talked about earlier, of, man, you should have let him go another year, or why'd you keep that fish? You should have let it go.
Sure.
Why don't you have matching camo? Why don't you use this trail cam? Why do you have a crossbow and not a traditional bow? Why do you have a compound bow and not a traditional bow?
Correct.
You know what? We said it. If it's legal, ethical, and moral, then let's work together, because
it kind of goes back to our old, like, it's your tag.
It's your tag.
It's your license.
Do what you want to do.
If you are doing something within the legal limits of the law, by all means, do it and enjoy it. And
how many arguments and bickering have you scrolled through to what? Like, I do it almost on a daily basis. I actually had to leave recently. I left a group, a hunting group that I was in.
Yeah.
Just recently, I just couldn't take it anymore. The negativity and the bashing of each other. And actually the admin of this particular page, how a leader of the group, was just toxic. I mean, 100% toxic.
They're kind of fueling that fire in a sense,
We have enough drama in the world going on. We don't need to create more for our small community that we're talking about. There's plenty of drama out there. Don't make more.
I wonder how impactful it could be if we genuinely made a decision to save the comment, right, and just share positivity. Like, just try to do it. Like, for those that it's hard for, it's not hard for me. But for those that it's hard for, some of those that they gotta have their their comment, just like, hey, before I send,
That'd be harder than trying to give a kid medicine. They'd be like, you have to hold them down.
But I mean, why is it so hard to just give somebody a hey, congratulations, man? I mean, it seems like for some, it's a lot harder than for others.
Well, if it was face to face, it may be easier for them. Okay. But when they get behind that keyboard, they get a little more brave.
Yeah.
They get that audacity.
Right.
Like, ooh.
Yeah. So, well, man, I mean, again, we can go back and forth, but let's sum up 3 positives and 3 negatives, maybe, and wrap it up. And we'll leave it for the comments, and we'll leave it for you guys to let us know what you think. And again, this is just a topic of discussion, but I thought it was a kind of a cool topic of discussion because it is changing in a sense.
It is, and there's so many, like, we barely scratched the surface. So and I understand a lot of people are going to say, well, what about this? And then, good, throw it in the comments, let us know, because there's so many. We only have so much time. But
we want to keep it short and we'll keep it entertaining. But I mean, I think we can keep going for a long time. But we just wanted to make a quick topic of discussion. Again, the topic of this podcast is the impact of social media is having on hunting and fishing. I'll start off with a positive. I think that it is actually raising a popularity. I think it's actually becoming more trending. It's actually becoming more of a searchable topic. Yeah. It's actually becoming a bigger community. You know what I mean? And it's growing the awareness to people who really weren't into it. Are kind of like, man, I see a lot of pictures of fishing and hunting on Facebook now, where I never really saw that, or on other social medias, and now it's becoming more popular, and it's allowing some small businesses to actually thrive. You know what I mean? And that's super important. You know what I mean? So I think it's growing a community. I think it's actually helping people that maybe weren't really exposed to it as much, and now they have an avenue where they can tap into and maybe ask a question or something. So I think in that sense, it's doing some good things.
Yeah, another pro. I'm just going to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, because it's what I was going to say. And it may be a pro that came out of the pandemic, the whole COVID thing.
Right.
It kind of became a family event. Like, it kind of brought families back together, because you couldn't do a whole lot.
There's no better social distancing than getting out on the water by yourself or out in the woods.
A lot of folks were like, hey, let's give fishing a chance. Let's try that. So I think that really helped. And then you started seeing,
I saw a lot more people on the water during COVID.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I think that it really helped. And I started seeing a lot more fishing posts and a lot more, traction on fishing during that time. And I was like, I thought of, it's a horrible event, the pandemic.
Well, of course, yeah.
But that was something good that I personally seen that came out of it is, people taking a family event to go fishing, try it out.
So one more, and I'll wrap it up with this, because I am a small business owner in the fishing and hunting thing. And now, us doing this together, it's definitely going to be fun plugging into that community through social media.
We have to, right?
Yeah, and really, it's almost hard not to. Even if you have a brick and mortar and people, you got the heaviest foot traffic, you got to promote. You got to use your resources to get the business out there and awareness. And social media allows us to do that instantaneously over a large market. And because of that, I'm grateful. I'm thankful for the impact that social media can have on fishing and hunting. That impacts small businesses.
Agreed.
So
just have a good foundation, values, and stick with it. Don't compromise. Don't compromise. Don't let things get in the way of whatever that foundation is.
Yeah, and you and I talked about, what was most important to us as we get this journey going was that we got to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
If we aren't having fun, we didn't want to be in business, and we're having a lot of fun, and our families are enjoying it. Our families are enjoying our conversations when we talk about that passion that we have. And people can see that smile on our face when we share our love for it. And I think that's super important. If you're doing something you love.
And it's all on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing we're saying bad thing, not bad. We're
pointing
pointing out
negative.
some things.
impacts, but we're also pointing out the positives.
Right. So without it, it's hard to do anything.
Yeah, so I guess on the flip side of all that, we have a few negatives that we can sum up. But, I think for me, it's just if we can or we can, lower the negativity on social media. And that should be in general. I mean, like he said, we got enough negative or
drama. There's so much drama everywhere already.
That's in the schools and everything. There's so much. You could throw a rock and that rock will hit some drama, right?
It will.
Why don't we share positivity? Why don't we share
and promote what it does for you holistically almost is getting out on the water, getting out in the woods, and how that makes you, just that time out, what it can really do for you both emotionally, spiritually, holistically. Like it for me, it makes me feel like a new person when I'm out, and then I come home and I'm like, oh man, I feel so much better.
And not only that, it's exercise, man. I was talking to you about, a couple years ago, I was 100 pounds heavier. There would have been no way I could have got out there and do all that.
We put some miles on the other day.
We put those miles on, and honestly, you remember I was going out there with a knee, nursing a knee, and you were kind of worried. But
you went out there nursing a knee, and I came back nursing a knee. Now,
right.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I actually felt like I woke up the next day. I thought I was going to be like this thing. I thought it was going to be flared up. My knee actually that did it some good.
Good.
I don't know if I maybe worked out some tension.
Motion is lotion.
There you go. But I tell you what, I felt so much better the next day. That just I felt accomplished. You know what I mean? It was something different for me, and it was challenging in a sense of like navigating some of that terrain was not necessarily just a walk through the park.
Right. Never is.
Right. So I really do feel like there's so much positive you can get from getting out there and enjoying the outdoors. So that ties into that, So, I just feel like if we could sum it up, we can say, if we're going to impact how social media is impacting fishing and hunting community, let's make a positive impact and grow the community even bigger.
Yep.
Let's grow awareness to conservation programs, to seasons, to the ethics behind a certain kind of hunting, a certain kind of fishing. There's species that are within season, within limits for a reason. Let's share that. Let's talk a little bit more about that. And maybe we can use those as topics of discussions on the podcast.
And if you have children, teach them the same, carry it on, keep it going.
Yeah, so that we can carry on these customs and traditions so that we can enjoy these, landscapes for generations on end, So, man, that was a pretty good topic of discussion today.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I know there's a million other things that we could have added in on it, and we hope to hear what your comments are about what you think those impacts could be. So throw those in the comments and let us know. Let's hear it.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that content. It was just a topic that I wanted to revisit, and there's social media is growing exponentially right now, and in the fishing and hunting community, we're seeing comments fly and threads, and we've learned the hard way posting stuff and sparking a little controversy here and there, but that's okay. There's going to be people thinking differently. There's going to be different opinions, and you're entitled to those opinions. There's some things we can do as content creators, as people posting on social media that can kind of do our part in the outdoors to shed a good light on it. And I'm going to cover a couple of those things. When you're going to post something social media wise, you got to remember, am I respecting the wildlife? First and foremost, when we are doing something and posting pictures and content, video, whatever it is, am I respecting the wildlife? Is this legal and compliant with the local game laws? We want to make sure we're staying within the legal left and right limits of the law. We want to stay within the regulation, and we don't want to spark any, you don't want to draw any negative attention to yourself, and you don't want to start something on social media that can create a bad light for any outdoorsman. Does this represent a humane harvest? You got to think how you're taking that wildlife. Is that a humane way of doing it? It is a legal way of doing it. You got to make sure you're staying within that as well. Will this encourage positive feedback? Will this encourage positive comments, positive things? You can't control that, but you can probably make sure that the context of your video or your photo is going to encourage that positive kind of engagement. Am I demonstrating safety? Whether you're on a boat, whether you're carrying a firearm, you want to make sure you're demonstrating safety so that we, again, are encouraging others to be part of this community and not bash us and think that we're just out there doing unsafe things and whatnot. Am I encouraging sportsmanship? That's super important. We are trying to grow a community. We're not trying to, get people to think that the outdoors, whether fishing and hunting, that you're encouraging just taking. You don't want to abuse the sport. We want to encourage people to take part. The biggest thing is if you're going to post something, words matter. The captions, the things you type in the post, that really sums up the content. You got to be careful on what you say, whether it's in a comment, whether it's in a post. You want to be mindful that it also hits a search engine optimization. So the words can trigger things, and I've run into this where I've had to learn the hard way on what I'm hashtagging and what I'm actually posting in my caption. So it's all about context. You see it all the time where people take something out of context and they just take what they want and comment on that, but they don't really watch the entire post or the entire video. We've had it several times happen where something gets taken out of context, but they didn't really watch the whole thing. Sure, a clip is just a clip of an entire video, and sometimes I've seen where we've posted a clip and that entire clip is taken out of context because they didn't watch the entire video. So if you are scrolling through videos on YouTube and you see a short and it's kind of sparked your interest, I encourage you to go to that channel, find that full video, and watch the full video in context, and then comment on that if you have an indifference or maybe you have an opinion that is, one, to support what they're doing or to, say something different. I think the best thing we can do on social media is encourage each other, is build each other up, and not try to bash each other. You've seen a little of the examples that we highlighted in the episode that we previously recorded, but you see it all the time. Whether someone's posting their first deer or their first catch, we want to encourage them. We want to empower them to keep doing it. We don't want to discourage them and say, oh, that's just a spike, or that why did you shoot that, or what are you doing with these animals and this and that. You can ask all those questions, but to just directly bash them or directly discourage them, I just find that to be a poor practice in social media. So let us know in the comments what you think. Some things you're seeing out there on social media. Let us know what you think about, how social media is impacting fishing and hunting. Hope you enjoyed this content. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.